Coming up in the news, the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines rolled out in the West. A mega business making a comeback after Hurricane Dorian. And we hear more from the new Director of Labor in the country. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Health officials rolling out the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines in West Grand, Bahama today. Scores of residents showing up at the Mary Magdalene Anglican Church Hall in West End to receive their first dose of the COVID vaccines. Jamila Mizik reports.
Hundreds of Grand's Bahamians showing up to the vaccination site in West Grand's, Bahama to receive their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. And what is their reason for doing so? Well, they say they're not taking any chances.
From as early as 9 a.m., residents could be seen lined up waiting patiently to receive their choice of either the Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines. These residents share why they decided to take the jab.
Well, this was the first time I didn't try it, I'm not afraid of nothing. I make up my mind for it.
I feel like a lot of people who got vaccinated, I don't feel like it's a reason you shouldn't, and I want to be on the safe side. I feel like if the Prime Minister and all the leaders getting it, I'd go on their side. I feel like it's safe if they're getting it.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
15 additional COVID-19 deaths being reported in the country, 12 of them from Grand Bahama, and the remaining 3 are from New Providence. The deaths took place over a period from July 16th to August 23rd, taking the nationwide death toll to 396, with 20 under investigation. Now there are 129 new cases of the COVID-19 virus being reported in the Ministry of Health's latest release. 114 of those cases are in New Providence, 4 in ABACO, 6 in Eleuthera, 1 in the Berry Islands, 3 in Exuma, and 1 in Crooked Island, for a total of 18,268. 4 of the New Providence cases, along with 2 cases from Exuma, have a travel history in the past 14 days. Hospitalizations sit at 168. 28 are in Grand Bahama, with 4 people in the intensive care unit. 3,093 cases remain active. The total number of recoveries, 14,665. Thursday, September 2nd, will mark 2 years since Hurricane Dorian passed through Grand Bahama, leaving a trail of destruction. Tonight, a major business establishment that was greatly affected by the storm on the island is celebrating an achievement. 2 years later, and they are now open for business. In this report, the general manager of the company is providing more details on the challenges and that the company faced with after the storm and the way forward. Italia Hall reports.
Freeport JETWASH has been a part of the city of Freeport since 1973. The business establishment was purchased by the Roberts family and has been supplying the Grand Bahama community with fuel, auto parts, a service department, and car sales since that time. General Manager Larry Albury says shortly before Hurricane Dorian, the company began a renovation project.
We had just put $500,000 into it 3 weeks before Dorian hit. So after Dorian hit, we had about 4 foot of water on the property. It went through the building, through the dispensers, like a washing machine was on the spin cycle. So basically, after Dorian, we were closed down. We opened parts, and we were able to help the public with all their automotive needs in that area.
Now, although the auto parts store was open 2 weeks after the storm, the gas stations were closed for months.
The West Atlantic, we opened that last November and got that going. It was off and on because the dispensers were still having problems. West Mall, where we're standing, basically would not open because the grade of the land is lower here, so we had more water on this side of JETWASH than the other. So basically right now we're replaced all 10 dispensers. Underneath each dispenser is a sump. We're environmental friendly. Our dispensers has 2 filters. One is a cone filter and one is a screw-on filter. So basically you're getting your fuel here actually filtered twice before it goes in your car, and all our diesel dispensers, we filter it 3 times.
And as for car sales, well, the general manager says the company still has the rights to do so, but due to the downturn in the Grand Bahama economy, that is not their main focus at this time.
You know, it's not enough people here, and the cash flow on the island. It's no sense in selling cars because basically, as we all know, a car has a year on it. So basically when the year expires, you know, then the price has to keep dropping, and then, you know, you only have a certain margin on selling cars. The whole of JETWASH is under price control. So, you know, you have to understand that we only have a certain limits to make our money and to pay our bills.
He says during the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, the company was forced to downscale.
Just last November, like I said, we started hiring our staff back, and we've been most lucky to hire 80% of the actual people that was here before Dorian. And we just opened on West Mall in late June. So, you know, we're getting all our great staff back.
But overall, Aubrey says they are pleased to be back servicing the community.
Looking for Grand Bahama to come by and say hello again. We're here to serve you, and we're not leaving. We're here downtown. We're hoping for downtown to revitalize. One more step, one more company to actually get back on its feet and say downtown is here to serve you.
Now, as for the operating hours of the gas station, 7:45 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays from 7:45 a.m. until 2 p.m. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
A longtime fighter in the labor movement appointed as the new director of labor for the country. In this report, the new director shares his plans for moving the country forward as it relates to protecting the rights of employees and creating a harmonious relationship between employers and employees. Quentin LARODA has been the area vice president for the Bahamas Union of Teachers for decades, and he is no stranger to fighting for the rights of Bahamian employees. As of September 1st, he will assume the position of Director of Labor, a new challenge he says he is looking forward to. With 23 years of experience in the labor movement, LARODA says he is appreciative for the new appointment.
I've been the executive here in Grand Bahama who's been responsible for leading. At one point we had as much as 630 members. I've assisted in negotiating 2 of our industrial agreements, and I've also assisted in preparing the first ever industrial agreement proposal. I've done a lot of training. I've trained a lot of members from our union, other unions. I've done workshops for the public service. And so, of course, Bahamas Union of Teachers, and so I've had regional exposure and experience. I'm a John Thompson Fellow, which was a leadership program done by the unions out of Canada. I went to ILO, was a part of the delegation from the Bahamas. I have, at the Department of Labor, advocated and been involved in so many conciliations now I can't even remember. And over the last 4 years, I've been practicing before the Industrial Tribunal.
LARODA says he is very familiar with past directors, and he intends to continue to build on the foundation left behind. He envisions the Department of Labor being a place where the business community, labor unions, and the everyday employee can visit to get sound advice.
One of the things I want the Department of Labor to always be able to do, and I've been very impressed with some of the officers here, is to provide good, sound advice to the business community on their obligations under the law. So I want to sort of standardize that so that when anybody calls the Department of Labor, whether they're a labor union, whether they're an employer, whether they're a worker, they can be assured that the advice is sound and that the advice would hold up, if they take it, it would hold up when they go to Industrial Tribunal or another court.
However, LARODA says he does have one concern as he leaves the island of Grand Bahama. He is urging all employees who are not unionized to do their research and become familiar with their rights.
That there are some individuals who would step up and try to assist the workers when they're mistreated. Those ones that are not unionized in particular. Those that are unionized, of course, they have representation for their union, but you have a waitress who was terminated without any pay and terminated unfairly or wrongfully. Construction workers and any other in the field, just regular Bahamians who don't have a union, and some of them who work for very small companies, they are really exposed to mistreatment.
As he makes the transition, he says he is sincerely grateful to the teachers and administrators of Grand Bahama.
I've been in the fight for them and with them. They have supported me and they've done me well. They have allowed me to leave the Bahamas Union of Teachers as elected 5 consecutive times as area vice president. So I'm the longest serving area vice president and the 3rd longest serving executive in BUT history. And so I couldn't do it without them. Couldn't have done it without them. And so my love, my appreciation for the teachers here, the administrators here, it'll be an everlasting one.
Now we also have reaction from local unionists who have worked with the newly appointed Director of Labor. In this report, they say they are confident that he will bring fairness and truth to that position. Trade unionists and educators on Grand Bahama describing the newly appointed Director of Labor, Quintin LARODA, as a man that led with fairness, vision, and honesty. President of the newly formed Bahamas Educational Counselors and Allied Workers Union, Pekka Wu, Sandra Major, says that it is because of the knowledge passed on by LARODA that she felt empowered to form this new union.
As teachers, we are so proud of him, and it's most deserving. There's no red or yellow with Quintin LARODA. Quintin LARODA speaks truth. And so he's able to reach you whatever level. He's there for you if you have something. He's there for you if you don't. He's not looking for money. He wasn't looking for title. But you know, when you do something that shows your passion and you do it out of honesty, you'll always be rewarded. So we are really, truly proud of Mr. Quintin LARODA.
Retired educator and area vice president for the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Rudy Sands, recalls how LARODA got his start in the labor movement.
In fact, at one of our executive meetings held here in Freeport, Mr. Black said to Quintin, who was the youngest, of course, he said, "You are going to be our parliamentarian." And so Quintin took it on, and he studied the labor laws, and he was just excellent. So he got his start way back there. He had this passion for teachers, and I'm sure he will have a passion for all the workers here in this country. He would be a great director. He'll represent all the people, and he is very, very good.
Vice President of Becca Wu, Vanola Sayers Nelson, and Secretary General Pamela Murphy say that LARODA has always led with passion. They add that he believed in representation that was fair.
One of the things that we liked about him as our AVP in Grand Bahama was the fact that he shared knowledge. He himself was knowledgeable. He went after information and he dispersed it amongst us. So he did not just embrace his leadership, but he brought his leadership team up with him. He ensured that we were informed as well. And so he left a legacy of information so that the newly formed Becca Wu is made up of persons who were informed, who were well-trained because of Quintin LARODA.
Everything that we've learned as a result of Mr. LARODA's passion and tenacity for the truth, for unionism, for educating the persons that come under him. And like Miss Edgecombe said, he was always preparing the way for the persons who are coming after.
Area Vice President of ABACO, Martha Edgecombe, noting that LaRoda not only believed in educating himself, but also passing that knowledge on to others. She says he was always one to stand up and fight for the rights of employees, regardless of profession.
He spent countless amount of hours conducting trainings, and not only for the teachers union or the teachers shops yachts, he provided training for other unions as well. Whether it was immigration, customs, it didn't matter. And then he decided that he was going to expand even more. He, self-infused lawyer. He began representing numerous amount of people through the tribunal. And I just always admired his tenacity. I just always admired, the work and the effort that he put in.
The Free National Movement issuing a press release as it relates to the suspension of campaigning on the island of Abaco in honor of Hurricane Dorian victims. The F.N.M will suspend its election campaign on Abaco tomorrow, September 1st, which marks the 2nd anniversary of the killer storm. They will resume campaigning on September 2nd. Stay with us, there's more news right after this break.